Hello, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm Denise Salcedo, and today we are going to be chatting all things NXT. And today was the July 20th edition of the Black and Gold brand, and it's kind of been a newsworthy last couple of days. We are literally coming off of this very entertaining week of wrestling. We had Friday Night Smackdown, which, brought forth the return of live audiences on Smackdown. We had Saturday Night Slammiversary, and then on Sunday we had WWE Money in the Bank. Then last night on Raw we had a lot of different events unfold, and today we had NXT. And to be honest, the last couple of hours since last night, the major topic at hand has been Karrion Kross, his Raw debut, everything that went down on the show. And NXT was very interesting today because NXT was essentially kind of put on notice last night, so to speak, and we're going to get more into that, as we cover everything that went down on the show. But this was a very interesting episode of NXT, mainly because a lot of us were curious as to if they were going to address any of the events that unfolded with Karrion Kross on Raw losing to Jeff Hardy. I was wondering if they were going to go ahead and make any sort of mention or anything, but it looks to me like we got to keep pretending like these are two separate universes, because there really wasn't a major mention of Karrion Kross's loss to Jeff Hardy on his Raw debut. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and jump right into NXT. But before we do so, I want to remind you guys all that this is a very interactive stream. If you all want to share your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions, feel free to do so, because I will be reading comments throughout this entire show. If you guys want to send in a super chat, that is the for sure way to make sure that your comment gets read on the air. If you do send in a super chat, I will read your comment. And also, I do get to keep whatever proceeds I make from all super chats. So they do help me out. And I thank you guys all in advance. But we definitely got a lot of people coming in here, guys. And I kind of want to kick off with your overall thoughts. So send your overall thoughts on NXT first. And then we're going to go ahead and jump into this opening segment with Samoa Joe. But I kind of want to get a feel for how you guys felt about tonight's show, especially because, well, we just mentioned, the fallout from last night's Raw impacted NXT here today. And then also moving forward the next 2 weeks, NXT is going to be airing on the Sci-Fi channel instead of USA. So we all know that whenever they make these moves onto a different channel, the ratings are always hurt. That just happens all the time. We saw it happen with AEW. We've seen it happen with WWE, and we're bound to see it happening again these next 2 weeks as it airs on Sci-Fi. But let's see what you guys all thought overall about NXT here today. So we have a comment from Dalen Prada, who says that this show was so hard to watch after NXT was buried last night. He says, I was literally watching thinking to myself, what's the point, so many times? And that's the thing. Immediately after my initial gasp and surprise of Karrion Kross losing to Jeff Hardy, my jaw literally dropped. I was like, it was just such a reaction that I know that, I know people are like, oh, WWE always makes calls like this and that. This was the first one one of the first ones, in recent times, where I felt like there was major repercussions. And immediately I went out on social media and I was like, dude, the repercussions for NXT is that the viewers are going to have this in back of their mind, that the person who represents the NXT brand, the NXT champion, lost to Jeff Hardy on the main roster. And I know a lot of people have been arguing about this literally nonstop since it happened yesterday. And I know this because my Twitter feed has just been blowing the hell up with so many comments of people going back and forth on this conversation. I've said my piece on Twitter. I've said my piece on the Raw review, but obviously we're going to address it here today too, because the show that it impacted was NXT. And just based off this one comment alone that we just had from Dalen, based on the way that I felt today heading into NXT, I think we all had that, as a dark cloud over our head. So let's see what else we got here. This is a comment from Paris Beach, who says, don't know why everyone's crying, because everyone who's at NXT will head over to the main roster. At the end of the day, I know a lot of people are like, oh, okay, it doesn't, like with a comment we just got, they're going to head over to the main roster. At the end of the day, this is still 2 hours of TV time. This is still 2 hours of NXT programming that we are seeing, 2 hours that I'm pretty sure they want us to invest in. So it's not necessarily about, crying, oh, like, he lost. This isn't like, oh, my favorite wrestler lost, so I'm really sad situation. This is totally opposite of that. The key thing that I think a lot of people aren't getting, the people that don't see anything wrong with this, is the fact that by having the NXT champion lose to Jeff Hardy, somebody who's essentially lost to like pretty much like every like low card person on Raw this year alone, has repercussions, because it basically tells you like, hey, you should not care about the NXT brand if you are seeing their champion. And today I woke up today and I went and, looked up the, some stats up on the internet and all of that. And literally, so Karrion Kross, since debuting on NXT, has had a total of 18 matches, okay? A total of 18 matches on NXT. Karrion Kross has only lost 1 match, guys. 1 match. That was the tag team match when he teamed up with Finn Balor when they were doing the whole can Finn Balor and Karrion Kross essentially coexist ahead of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. That was the only match that he lost. Like, this was somebody that they were, putting effort into. He was he won the NXT championship. So he had an 11 match winning streak. And during that, he won the NXT championship. Sadly, he was injured, so he was taken off of TV, which really sucks, because I feel like prior to his injury, a lot of people were like really into Karrion Kross. They were really digging Karrion Kross. He had the whole total package, that whole sort of thing. Then he gets injured. He comes back. He wins the title. And I'm thinking, all right, you know what? They want to see what they're going to, it's clear that they want to still see what they can do with him as champion. He literally defeated, 4 other guys, recently on TakeOver. And then you had him, he literally lost to Finn Balor twice. That is work that guys like Finn Balor, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, all of these people in these matches helped further Karrion Kross, help establish him as a stronger champion. They put in their work to also help elevate him as a champion, because they know that elevating him as a champion elevates the brand itself. And then you essentially go and have him lose on Raw in his debut. I mean, guys, it doesn't make sense to do that to your champion. But clearly, based on some of the reports that have been being brought out, based on some of the comments from other people that have made, a lot of people believe that this was essentially a message being sent to NXT. And that really, really sucks, because there is a lot of good stuff on the NXT brand. There has been, or else it wouldn't have lasted this long. And so when people say that it's not a big deal, it is a big deal. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, she's just being over dramatic, just wants to complain for the sake of complaining. That's not necessarily the case. If anything, I feel that people that are upset, like myself, are upset because they feel passionate about the brand. They feel passionate about the championship, about the title itself. If we didn't, then why the hell are we wasting our time watching the NXT product, trying to figure out, hey, who's going to be champion? How's this person's reign as champion going? If it didn't matter, then we wouldn't be talking about it. And we should be talking about it. You want us to be talking about it. So it's just this whole thing. And I went on a rant about this yesterday on the Raw post show. And it seems like I'm going on another one today, even though I wasn't intending to. But it's one of those things where it blows my mind that a lot of people cannot grasp that there is a bigger picture here. It's not whether or not you're a fan of Karrion Kross or you're a bigger fan of Jeff Hardy. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the bigger picture and and what Karrion Kross represents. Woof, I am sweating now, everybody. Welcome to my show if you are a new viewer. We have a super chat from Young Boy. Thank you so much to Young Boy for sending in the super chat. Thank you very much. Young Boy says, thank you, Raquel Gonzalez, for your back muscles. All right, this is definitely not the super chat that I was expecting, but I still thank you for sending it in. Raquel works hard, and she definitely has the back muscles that I wish that I had here. All right, so I'm going to read a couple more comments here about what you guys thought about pretty much everything that has gone down, guys. So let's see. I'm going to read a couple of comments here. Again, if you want to make sure your comment gets read on the air, send in a super chat. We have one from Ruben Matthew who says, I'm terrified for guys like Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa if they ever end up making their way onto the main roster. Aaron Fernandez says Kross has been undefeated on NXT with one of the biggest builds, so much investment into that, and his entrance. I don't think Kross is brought to the main roster just for squash. It could be something big. Well, I hope it is. I really hope that they find some sort of way to turn this around, because and a lot of people are like, have patience is going to build. Bro, first impressions matter big time. And this isn't just like, if he would have came in here without the title and lost, I would have been like, ooh, that sucks. But because he came in here with the title, there is a lot more at stake here. Again, I don't feel a lot of people are grasping that he, as champion, represents the NXT brand. So I just want to make sure I'm hitting that, I'm whacking everybody over the head with that. So we have a super chat. Thank you so much to Dalen Parada for sending this in. He says, I started watching NXT back in 2015 after seeing Kevin Owens debut on Raw and attacking Cena. I can't imagine anyone watching Raw last night saying I should check out NXT. They literally told us nothing mattered. Thank you. Yes, like literally key word here. A key sentence that he said is, I can't imagine anyone watching Raw last night and saying I should check out NXT. If I was a casual viewer, I'd be like, well, why am I going to watch NXT? Like, the champion just lost. Like, why am I going to waste my time? That's just kind of pointless. That's like, no, I completely agree with this comment. And that's very unfortunate, because that's not the message that you want to send out to your viewers here. So let's see what else we got here, guys. Send out your comments. This one is from Alejandro Reyes, who says, I was thinking, what's the point of the breakout tournament now if the NXT titles aren't important in the grand scheme of things once you reach the main roster to be able to recognize those reigns? Well, yeah, that was another thing that was of topic to the fact that they don't seem to be acknowledging Charlotte's NXT championship reigns. Doesn't seem like that's being acknowledged either. So it is pretty interesting to see all of this here. Let's see what else we got here. And this is one from Keith Duran, who says, I agree so much that first impressions matter. Remember what happened to EC3 after his first appearance? Yeah, there was a lot. I thought they were going to go a totally different route with EC3, and it just didn't end up going that way. We have another comment from Pomi Wrestling, who says, he thought NXT was an overall good show, but Samoa Joe's promo and O'Reilly versus Theory were the only standout segments. I have to completely agree. I thought that this wasn't the very best NXT, because there's been a lot of really good ones, and I've always been on here, talking about those good ones. This one was just there. However, we will talk about some of the main, some of the biggest moments of the night and which ones were really good. We have another comment from Antonio Marrero, who says, as an overthinker, it always stuck in the back of my mind that he lost in under 2 minutes to Hardy, and kept making me think, why should I watch this if it doesn't even matter? Yep. Blake Blakely says, Kross presentation tonight was perfect. It gave me Batman villain vibe. Yeah, I was surprised for a second there. I didn't think they were even going to show Karrion Kross today. I thought for a second that they were just going to have him like completely off the show, which of course would not have made sense considering the fact that Samoa Joe was looking for him since the very beginning of the night. We have another comment from Sticker Reds 202, who says, Kross's loss last night, quote, sending a message, is giving Vince more credit for coherent booking than he usually gets. It was probably a last minute decision. He's already forgotten. I don't think so. I think this was definitely a message being sent. I feel like you just don't forget pinning a champion in that way, but we'll see. All right, so let's jump into the meat of the show, everybody. Let's break down what occurred on this edition of NXT. And here we go. So we opened up with a pissed off, very angry Samoa Joe. And I gotta say that a pissed off, very angry Samoa Joe is what I am here for. He is my favorite. So he comes in and he says, quote, "Tick tock. Guess who's come to smash your clock?" And he had a lot of interesting lines today, Samoa Joe. He's definitely taking from like famous quotes and kind of like twisting them up a little bit to pretend to apply to the situation at hand right now. So I did kind of like that. There was a lot of clever things that Samoa Joe mentioned today where I was like, oh, I know where he got that from, or I know where he got that from. So I liked all of that. But he's pissed the hell off, okay? He's mad about, the events that unfolded last week on NXT. He wants to essentially, confront Karrion Kross and basically, give him a piece of his, more than a piece of his mind. But William Regal comes out and he basically, stops Samoa Joe and he says, look, you cannot go after Karrion Kross because you cannot call out the talent. And Samoa Joe reminds William Regal that he was provoked and he said, look, when we made this deal, I told you that I wasn't going to put my hand on the talent as long as I was not provoked. However, Samoa Joe says that he was definitely provoked. But then William Regal tries to twist things and he says, no. Like Samoa Joe was not provoked. Samoa Joe, the referee, was provoked. So then they start arguing about semantics, etc. And, Samoa Joe still wants Karrion Kross to come out, but William Regal tells them that essentially they need to settle things. All right. So that is how that opening segment ends. And we're going to circle back to what actually happens with Samoa Joe and Karrion Kross at the end of the stream because it happened at the end of the show. So it's just a lot better to go about it that way there. And let's see if we got any interesting comments about all of this. Everybody's still talking about, obviously, Karrion Kross and all of that situation. So here we go. Let's jump into the opening match of the night because this was a pretty, this kind of pertains to the conversation that we had last week because last week, if you did not watch the show last week, I might as well just tell you guys now. The key thing here is that I am not feeling Diamond Mine whatsoever. I think that the general consensus, at least overall on this show last week, was that the Diamond Mine necessarily isn't bringing to the table what we thought they were. I thought the Diamond Mine was supposed to be more of like a catch wrestling, ground-oriented, strike-oriented team, but they are not. In fact, I went ahead and made a joke on Twitter that I kind of feel that Bobby Fish and Kushida were more Diamond Mine than Diamond Mine themselves. But either way, we had this match between Bobby Fish and Kushida versus Tyler Rust and Roderick Strong. And I'm going to start off by saying that I liked this match, but the reason why I liked it and the person that was the standout for me was Bobby Fish. Obviously, Kushida's always, going out there and just having a hell of a match no matter what match he's in or no matter what is going on. He's always going to put forth a great match. We already know that. But I actually thought that Bobby Fish, they should have made the decision to put him in Diamond Mine because we kick off this match. First and foremost, Bobby Fish and Kushida attack Diamond Mine, Roderick Strong, and Tyler Rust before they even make it to the ring while they're making their entrance. They go to commercial. We come back. Quickly, we see Kushida take down Strong. And then Bobby Fish comes in and he does a bunch of palm strikes onto Tyler Rust. And that is when I was like, bro, that seems more Diamond Mine to me than anything we're seeing from anybody else here. And the reason for that, obviously, too, is, you have to think about like the background of Kushida and Bobby Fish. Those are guys that have spent time training like legit shooters. You had Kushida, who trained in the New Japan dojo. You had Bobby Fish, who also trained in the Noah dojo, spent some time there. So obviously they are, taught to fight like legit shooters. So you did see that brought into this match here today. And then there was a moment though, but I don't want to necessarily bury Diamond Mine here because Tyler Rust out of both Roderick Strong and Tyler Rust. I actually think that Tyler Rust is the one that is sort of outshining Roderick Strong because he was a major standpoint during this match. I was very interested in what he was doing. Like after I got over okay, they need to be more of the way that they pitched them to be. They need to be a little bit more of that. And once there was a moment where Tyler Rust got Fish in a rest hold. And then once again, Fish gets him with more palm strikes. That was really good. But then we see Tyler Rust get Bobby Fish with several kicks to the rib cage of Bobby Fish. And then he begins to stretch him out. I thought this was good. If anything, I kind of want to see more of that from Tyler Rust. I thought that was a phenomenal little sequence that we saw there. Then we saw Kushida do a drop kick on Strong, and then he kicks him to the face once again, but he ends up getting a 2 count here. Then we then see Kushida get the hoverboard on Tyler Rust to eventually get the win here. So I like the fact that we had Tyler Rust immediately tap out to the hoverboard lock. I feel like that's like the most accurate way to go about it, the way to present the hoverboard and all of that. But I gotta say though, I do want to see a little bit more from Diamond Mine. I feel like they're not sticking out, in my opinion, from their in-ring work or anything that they're doing. They're not necessarily sticking out in a way that I'm like, yeah, like Diamond Mine's out. Like these are guys that I'm totally rooting for. I'm behind them. I don't feel that way just yet. Again, I like what Tyler Rust is doing, but I feel like they do got to step it up a notch, especially if they still want to keep, that momentum that they had when they first debuted into NXT. I also do got to say that I really like the pairing of Kushida and Bobby Fish. I thought they were a pretty fun duo, especially here tonight. I thought they were a real standout. I was a fan of this. How did you guys feel about that opening match? And do you agree or disagree with some of the comments that I had to make? Here we go. This is a comment from Planet Dan ASMR who says, what a way to build your new stable by having them lose. If they are supposed to be presenting them as a dominant group, they should win. Yeah, I was not expecting for Tyler Rust or Roderick Strong to lose here tonight, but I kind of like they're new, so that's why I wasn't expecting them to lose. But then you got to think about Kushida and all of that. So I'm actually kind of happier that they had Bobby Fish and Kushida win, just because I thought that they were the real standout here. But yeah, it doesn't say very much considering the fact that they are a new group here. And let's see what else we got here. This is a comment from Lenny Banner who says, so Rust beats Fish just to lose this week? ? Typical 50-50 booking. And then we have another comment from Martin Carrillo who says, Diamond Mine don't feel like they were supposed to feel that gritty mixed martial arts act. Exactly. I think the way that they were promoted when they were coming into this. I mean, how many of us didn't think that Diamond Mine was going to be some sort of fight club? Like that's what people were expecting. I think people were expecting like a Raw Underground, but for NXT or something. And so I don't think it's necessarily matched up with how they were presented or how they were teased to the audience. We have another comment from Dalen who says, a Diamond Mine are the most boring stable. Did we ever get an explanation as to why they're there together? Not really. I don't think so. Like legit on NXT, I don't think so. But I might have forgotten, but I'm pretty sure that's even worse. If they did and I forgot, that's even worse. All right. Brandon Charles Powell says, plot twist, Bobby Fish and Kushida joining the Diamond Mine. They might as well spice things up a little bit. But we actually have a super chat from Taylor Cannon. Thank you so much to Taylor. Whoop, whoop. Taylor says, thank you for what you're doing, Denise. I really enjoy your post shows. They are very entertaining. Thank you so much, Taylor. Like, I got to thank you so much. Whenever people send in like these types of nice comments, like, man, it really makes me happy because there is no harsher critic on anyone other than yourself. Like, I'm my harshest critic. So like, if I reading nice comments definitely helps boost the morale, coming into all the shows and whatnot. And it's been like literally nonstop back-to-back shows. I've been doing back-to-back shows since Friday this week, and it's going to go up until tomorrow since you guys know I'll be here for AEW Dynamite. So thank you so much to Taylor Cannon for sending in this very awesome super chat. I really, really thank you. And let's see, we have a funny comment from Christopher Travers who says, no comment from this guy. I never watch, but I'm going to watch the replay tomorrow. Well, at least now with my post show, you'll know what to skip and what to watch. So I'll tell you what to skip, and what to watch. And let's see what else we got here. We have another comment. This one's from Res Life Entertainment, who says, sorry, I didn't watch, but you got to check out Lucha Killing Fuego on Dark Elevation. Well, if it's like, I feel like I've been missing a lot of AEW Dark. Like, it's just been like, with all the shows and a lot of the shows, going on at the same time, sadly, I do have to miss a couple of shows, but, it is what it is. You got to sacrifice some things. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and move on. So here we go. And we actually have a funny comment from Brandon Rosen, who says, sorry, but I found it hard to get into NXT given what happened on Raw last night. Oh, my God, it really bums me out here. And Duke Togo 13 says, it's cool that you give shout outs to non-super chatters. Guys, I know that, look, to be honest, obviously I make money when you guys send into super chats, and I'm like beyond thankful, but I want to make sure to also, incorporate people that aren't sending super chats, because I know that not everybody can. And I want to make sure that you guys, you guys are still here spending time watching the stream and devoting part of your lives to me. So I want to make sure that you guys are feeling part of this. And yeah. All right. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and move on, because after this we had Cameron Grimes back to his butler duties here. And this was actually my favorite butler duty segment. So it wasn't really like a vignette though. So it's more like it was you can say a backstage segment. It wasn't a vignette. But anyways, so Cameron Grimes essentially rolls in with LA Knight, and LA Knight pops open that trunk, and he's got 1 million bags in there. And obviously Cameron Grimes, as the butler, he has to pick up all of these bags and he has to carry them with him. Drake Maverick is pulling into the venue, to the Capitol Wrestling Center, and he sees Cameron Grimes. Poor Cameron Grimes is just struggling there to carry all the bags. And so he offers him help. And, Cameron Grimes is obviously going to take the help. And LA Knight's like, hell no, like, you're not going to help him. Like, don't help him. So this ends up setting up a match between Drake Maverick and LA Knight later on in the show. But I just want to say right now that I love this segment, and I especially loved how it plays out later on in the show, which we will get to because I'm going in order of events here today. We also have an announcement for NXT Takeover 36. So NXT Takeover 36 is obviously we already knew based on reports and whatnot, but they officially confirmed it here today that NXT Takeover 36 is taking place on Sunday, August 22nd, which is the day after SummerSlam. However, this one is taking place at the Capitol Wrestling Center. It would have been cool for them to do it in Las Vegas, but for whatever reasons, that's definitely not taking place in Las Vegas, but at the Capitol Wrestling Center. So we'll see. But there you go, NXT Takeover 36, August 22nd. Make sure to mark it on your calendars. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and move on. Before I do here, this is a comment from C. Grenadier, who says, Butler Grimes, to the broom. To the broom, everybody. All right, here we go. So let's move on to Frankie Monet in action. So last week, one of the major things that we were discussing was what the hell is Mandy Rose doing on NXT? We've been seeing a lot of call-ups, people going over to Smackdown, not necessarily to Raw yet. I mean, other than Karrion Kross. But anyways, we haven't necessarily seen anybody go the opposite direction as of late, but it ended up being that Mandy Rose is now on NXT. However, when she made her NXT return, she didn't really say anything other than that one line when she said that the Robert Stone brand is under new management, and that was backstage. But when she was out there, she didn't really say anything. She was sort of like, it was very confusing. I didn't know if she was like, had issues with Gigi Dolan. I didn't know if she was scouting. It really wasn't completely clear. And then I think at the end of last week, we all assumed that she's now the leader of the Robert Stone brand, or at least that's how they made it seem. It was very confusing. And I got to say that we didn't necessarily get answers here tonight either. I actually thought we were, but we kind of didn't. So it seems like they're teasing this a little bit more here. So we had a match between Frankie Monet versus JC Jane. And Frankie Monet ends up coming out with Jessie Kamea. And I just got to say, I don't think Jessie Kamea adds anything to Frankie Monet. She's just there. She doesn't bring anything additional to Frankie Monet. Like, Frankie Monet already has the whole, presence. She has the look. She has the in-ring ability. I mean, she has it all, right? So I kind of hope that if they do this, like, friendship with Jessie Kamea and Robert Stone and all of that, that they start to bring a little something more. We did see Robert Stone come out, and he's sort of arguing with Jessie. It looked like he was arguing with Jessie Kamea out on ringside. I couldn't really make out what was going on there. But then we also had Mandy Rose, and Mandy Rose looked like she was going to join the commentary booth. And I'm thinking, all right, cool. We're finally going to get some answers as to what the hell Mandy Rose is going to be doing on NXT. What does she go? Like, is she scouting? What's happening here? But instead, Mandy Rose just sits on the commentary table, blocking their view, I may add, and doesn't say anything again. So I don't really know what to make of Mandy Rose and Frankie Monet and Jessie Kamea and Robert Stones. I don't know if they're all on the same page or not. It seems like it, but I can't even say that confidently. But as for the match itself, though, I thought this was a perfectly fine match. JC Jane, I thought she looked solid. This was my first introduction into her. I believe she was signed this year, if I'm correct. But this was my first introduction to her. I had not seen her work prior to this, so she was new for me here. But I liked her. I thought she looked solid. This was not a bad match whatsoever. And the purpose of it was obviously to have Frankie Monet come out and have this, dominant victory. Not necessarily a squash, but still a dominant victory. And also, I guess, further along this story with Mandy Rose and Frankie and Jessie and Robert. So what do you guys make of this? Does somebody else have any other brilliant theories as to what direction we are going here? Commentary did make a note that it seems like Mandy Rose was scouting, but I'm not really too sure. We actually have a super chat. This one is from Christian Ramos. So thank you so much to Christian, who says, Frankie Monet is fire. La Güera Loca always delivers. She does. She does. She is one of the few people. And obviously, when she made her debut on NXT, she confronted Raquel Gonzalez and all of that. She was one of the few people where I thought, all right, if you're going to have her like skip through everything that we see everybody go through and just have her go straight to Raquel, I wouldn't have minded it. Honestly, I would not have minded it, because I would have been like, you know what? She's somebody that comes with such a vast experience, and, her name is known, everywhere, obviously, as Taya Valkyrie. So I feel like she would have been credible enough to actually be a challenger to Raquel. I didn't think she had to win, obviously, because Raquel was just kicking off her reign. But I did think that they could have skipped through all of the, mumbo jumbo and just had Frankie Monet go for that title. But obviously they decided to go a different direction, and it seems to me like they're finding this direction. But thank you so much to Christian Ramos for sending in this very kind super chat here. And let's see what else we got here. It doesn't feel like anybody has any great theory, because we have a comment from John who says, I don't think they even know what they're doing with Mandy. You're probably right. We have another comment from, let's see what else we got here. I'm scrolling through a couple of these here. And this one is from Advi, who says she absolutely loves Frankie's music. She needs to have more matches so we can hear it more. And she definitely has to have more matches. That's for sure. And Samoa Joseph says, I still don't see how Mandy could be an effective manager. Look, she doesn't have the personality to the level that Lana had it, but I still think she has enough to definitely get by. It just feels like we haven't seen much of it, though. Like when she was doing that whole stuff, with Sonya and all of that, and Otis, that was really fun. But then it's kind of like, I almost feel like we forgot what she could bring to the table because it's been so long, And it probably hasn't even been that long, but it feels like it's been a long time. So that's how I feel about all of that there. And let's see what else we got here. And this one is from another one from C. Grenadier, who says, Monet is already polished enough to go to the main roster. Definitely, but that's not going to happen there. It's not going to happen. At least not right now they should, but it doesn't seem like it is. All right. And let's see, we got it coming from Lenny, who says quality wrestling show shouldn't leave its viewers this much in lurch trying to figure out what's going on. Frankie should have been someone they fast tracked like they did Kross. I agree. They could have fast tracked her. I don't mind them teasing this whole Mandy Rose storyline, but it just doesn't feel like it's I feel like if they're going to tease it every week, should give us a little bit more, or knowing a little bit more. And I feel even more confused than I did I feel as confused as I did last week. This is a comment from Grande Hero who says, Mandy as a manager with a group opposing Frankie's group could be interesting. It's like, who is this alpha mean girl? And they can do a lot with that. Like, they can do a lot with the whole alpha mean girl type of thing. But that's the weird part. It's like, you have Mandy, who is like obviously like this gorgeous girl. So obviously you're going to put her in that role where she could be like the gorgeous mean girl. But then you also have that with Frankie Monet, where she's also the gorgeous mean girl that's, you know, bougie and bad and all of that. So it kind of feels to me like they necessarily, if they're going to be friends, one's always going to try to be more dominant than the other, try to be more powerful than the other. So they're either going to have them come together and they could be like this mean girl duo, or they could just be like bitter enemies. I don't know. See, like, I really don't know which direction they could head into this, but they have options is what I'm trying to say. I feel like they have options, especially with Frankie Monet, because she knows this Frankie Monet character so well, because it's essentially an extension of Taya Valkyrie, just obviously now under the NXT umbrella. So thank you so much to Grande Hero for also sending in this comment here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on, everybody. But before we do, a friendly reminder that the next 2 weeks, everybody, the next 2 weeks, starting next week, NXT is not going to be on the USA Network, but instead they will be on the Sci-Fi channel. Chances are the ratings will definitely take a hit there, but I will still be on here doing this show. So even if you don't watch NXT, because maybe, I don't know, you can't find the Sci-Fi channel, or you don't have the Sci-Fi channel, I don't know, whatever the reason may be, make sure to still come into my post show on Tuesdays. And then I'm on Tuesdays for NXT. I'm on Wednesdays for AEW. That's tomorrow, and that's usually my most popular show of the week. And then Fridays, I'm back for Smackdown. And last week's Smackdown was kind of awesome. Will they continue the momentum that they built last week? I really, really hope so. I do not know, but I hope they do. And obviously John Cena's going to be there as well. So hopefully things start to pick up on the Smackdown brand. So we'll see what goes on with all of that. All right. So here we have a comment from YT who says, time to pull out the old channel guide and find Sci-Fi. I don't even know if I have Sci-Fi, to be honest, because I use Sling TV, as you guys know, which kind of really sucks. Like, I'm not even going to come on here and say Sling TV is the greatest. Unless Sling TV wants to pay me, then I'll come on here and say they're the greatest, but they ain't pay me, so they ain't the greatest. I don't even know if they offer the Sci-Fi channel. I think they do, but I'm not really entirely sure because it depends on the package and all of that. So hopefully I'll find a way. I'm going to watch NXT. All will be okay. All right. So here we go. We have a quick sit down with Wade Barrett and Bronson Reed. Not much to say here other than Bronson Reed says he's going to get the job done that he didn't get the job done before. But let's move on to match of the night, guys. In fact, this was probably the best thing that occurred on the show. And it was Kyle O'Reilly versus Austin Theory. Now, I know a lot of people aren't necessarily, not everybody's always wild on Austin Theory, and I get it. But the guy has good matches. The guy has been having good matches, especially when he's in there with good workers. And Kyle O'Reilly is definitely one of those good workers. And so at this point of the show, I was feeling tired, guys. I was feeling like not very interested. I was still, a little sour, a little grouchy from the events that took place last night. I was still feeling it, obviously. If you were here for earlier on my show, you already heard my second rant that I've gone on about this. So I really wasn't connecting today with the show. However, when this match started, I almost didn't want to give it a chance. I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I had this very whatever attitude heading into this. I was like Orange Cassidy. I was barely putting any effort, okay? And then this match started, and I started to really, really get into it. And then I got more into it, and then more into it. And then by the time it ended, I was like, woo, this match rocked. So if you did not watch NXT today and you're thinking, well, Denise, what should I watch of NXT if I'm going to watch on the replay? Watch this match. This was a very, very, very fun match. And what made it fun was that, Kyle O'Reilly, he's just such a pleasure to watch in the ring. We already know that. But he was able to bring out the best in Austin Theory here, too. Austin Theory kept up with Kyle O'Reilly. And as the match progressed, we saw Kyle O'Reilly get more and more frustrated, get more and more intense, more and more aggressive, and that played out very nicely throughout this match. So they kick off this match going back and forth, exchanging strikes with one another. We see Theory do a double drop kick on Kyle O'Reilly, but Kyle O'Reilly transitions it into a heel hook, but Theory is able to get out of that heel hook really fast there. Theory then gets him with a fisherman suplex, and he goes for the pin, but only gets a 2 count. Then Kyle O'Reilly literally gets him with a bunch of knees and takes him down. Then we see Kyle O'Reilly get him in an armbar. Theory then fights this, and Kyle O'Reilly then switches and gets him in an ankle lock, but Theory is able to get to the ropes and break that. So then afterwards, we just keep seeing that momentum pick up from Kyle O'Reilly. He's picking up more aggression, as I mentioned. Kyle O'Reilly then gets him with several kicks to the head of Theory, like literally is kicking Theory's head like he is a soccer ball. And Kyle O'Reilly ends up winning this match via submission. And again, this was a very, very fun match. And even afterwards, he wouldn't even break the hold. So you can see that we are on the verge of seeing this new Kyle O'Reilly. And I believe he mentioned it last week, or maybe even the week before this, where he said that he's going to come out and I think it was last week, where he mentioned that he's trying to find the new Kyle O'Reilly. And we all know who Kyle O'Reilly isn't necessarily working whatsoever. So seems to me like he's on the right path into finding the new Kyle O'Reilly. And this is the Kyle O'Reilly we're going to be seeing. This is the Kyle O'Reilly that I know and that I like. Here we go, guys. We have a super chat from Cyclops is better than Wolverine. Thank you so much to Cyclops. It says, Theory was more over than Kyle O'Reilly. Yikes for his push. Was he? I didn't feel that way. Honestly, I didn't really feel that way, but maybe I wasn't really paying attention to the Capitol Wrestling Center crowd. To be honest, I wasn't really paying attention to them during this match. I was solely focused on the match and the moves and what was going on between these two guys. Because when I really get into a match, I know when I'm getting really into it, when I start to study every single little thing that the guys are doing in the ring. Like I ask myself, like, why does it make sense that he's going for this move? How is he countering this move? And that's when I know I'm really invested in a match, when I really start to like get into another level of studying the match. And I feel like this one kind of brought me to that. And so I kind of ignored whatever the reaction was from the Capitol Wrestling Center. But it seemed to me, at least once we actually saw Kyle O'Reilly again really, really get pissed off, it felt to me like the crowd was behind that, or they were at least reacting to that. So, yeah, Kyle O'Reilly just needs to find a persona for him that actually works. Again, cool Kyle O'Reilly isn't it. It's not really resonating, but when Kyle O'Reilly brings in that aggression, it is liked. It is definitely liked. And let's see what else we got here. This is another comment from Brandon, who says that he's glad that they dropped the cool Kyle O'Reilly stuff. Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't shove it down our throats. It was done. It didn't work, and they kind of dropped it really, really fast. And Troy Butler says, I think NXT really dropped the ball for building a card for next week on Sci-Fi. Obviously going to have a dip in ratings. They should have stacked the heck out of the show coming up on Sci-Fi. In fact, I think they only announced 2 matches, and I think I only wrote 1 match down. But they did not really announce a lot for this, for these Sci-Fi shows coming up, especially for the next one coming up. And I kind of feel like you would think, okay, we know that the ratings are going to be hurt, but let's at least maybe make some effort for somebody to at least go out of their way to try to find us on the Sci-Fi network. But it seems to me like they kind of were like, people aren't going to watch, so we don't have to put forth the best show. But we'll see. Obviously, they're still going to announce things throughout the week, and things can change by the time it's Tuesday. So we'll see. We'll probably be here on Tuesday, and I'll probably be talking about what an amazing show we had. We don't know, but yeah, I definitely think that they should have hyped up this show for the Sci-Fi on the Sci-Fi channel a lot more, for sure. We have a comment from Grande Hero who says, felt like Kyle was flirting with a heel turn at the end of this match with Austin Theory. If the story they are telling us Kyle has to lose a part of his soul to beat Adam Cole, I'm down with Evil Kyle. I think we're all down with Evil Kyle. We're all definitely here for Evil Kyle. And let's see what else we got here. This is a comment from Patrick who says, I wish WWE would bring more managers who are good on the mic. There are so many great workers who just aren't the best on the mic. Look at how much MVP helped Lashley or Heyman with Brock. Yeah, I agree. There are some people that aren't necessarily all that great on the microphone, and we know who they are. We have another comment from Justin Martin. Congratulations to Justin Martin. He was one of the winners for the Slammiversary code. BTW, guys, if you're not following me on Twitter, follow me because I do a lot of giveaways. For those of you guys who are wondering, I put a pizza giveaway for Slammiversary and Money in the Bank this weekend, and we got so many entrants. I said I was going to pick 2 people. I ended up picking 3 people. And my next pizza giveaway is going to be for All Out and Slammiversary. So keep an eye out for that. And plus, I do partner with Fight TV, and Fight TV gives me codes to like offer to like my followers and stuff. So keep an eye out for like any pay-per-view that's going to be like on Fight TV. Chances are that I'll have a giveaway like the week of the pay-per-view. So we'll see. Anyway, so Justin Martin says, we all know Kyle O'Reilly's a world-class wrestler. Theory is a top young talent, but sometimes that gets lost in his dumb jock persona. Now, yeah, there are some times, like, I haven't been a fan of the way, and you guys all know that. I've said that like a million times. But there are some times where, like, I do find myself laughing. Like, I think it was last week when Samoa Joe and Johnny Gargano were, like, singing, Joe, Joe, Joe. And that one thing popped me, and I was laughing. There are some times where I'm like, okay, you know what? It's not too bad. But, yeah, I mean, maybe it's better than some of the things. There were so many guys that for a while they were having matches, but they didn't have any story. They didn't have any character. Like, they were just having the matches, and that was it. That happened to Bronson Reed. It happened to Jake Atlas. It happened to a few others that I'm not thinking of right now, that they were having good matches, but there was nothing else there. And so at least they gave him something for Austin Theory. And we have a comment from Pomi Wrestling who says, loved O'Reilly's aggression at the end. Kind of reminded me of Dragunov going mad in his last few matches. Hells yeah. All right. And Alien Enigma says they buried Kross and Keith Lee, which sucks. Make sure to rewind to the top of the show because I do go off on a little bit of more of a tangent during that. And okay, I think I got pretty much a lot of the comments about this now. Again, friendly reminder, guys, if you want to make sure your comment gets read and you're like, dang it, Denise, you haven't seen my comment and it's brilliant. Read my comment and I haven't seen it. You can send in a super chat. I do get to keep 100% of the proceeds from all super chats. So thank you so much to the Wrestling Observer for allowing me to do so, BTW. So yeah, feel free to do so if you want. All right. And also I should promote this now. If you guys haven't already, I do have a interview up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo, with none other than your new Raw Women's Champion, Nikki Ash. Make sure you guys check out that interview. I had no idea she was going to win Money in the Bank. I had no idea that she was going to become Raw Women's Champion. So literally, it's been like, oh, I have an interview with Nikki Ash. And then it was like, oh, I have an interview with the new Money in the Bank winner. And then it was like, I have an interview with the Raw Women's Champion. So every week, it seems like I'm adding something to that. Or, I mean, every day, excuse me, because it's gone by so fast. But seriously, guys, check it out. If you ever see me promote an interview, please make sure you guys check it out. The more love these interviews get, the better chances I have of interviewing more talents and all of that. I'm constantly trying to get more interviews. So if you guys do enjoy those, feel free to check them out. It really helps me out. We have a super chat from JK. Thank you so much to Jay. He says, I still love NXT. Never told you this, but my daughter beat cancer because you are her inspiration and keep fighting. She is a woman of color, and because of that, we thank you. Wow, Jay, I was not expecting this comment whatsoever. I don't even know what to say. All I want to say is, dude, that's amazing. I'm happy that your daughter fought this, and I'm happy that you find inspiration in the show and in me, and that makes me really, really happy. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate this, and I appreciate you sending in the super chat. Thank you so much. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and read this comment from Patrick, who says, the Nikki Ash interview was great. Nikki is so nice, and I'm happy for her that she is getting the spotlight. Dude, yeah, I'm very, very happy for her. And I think, yeah, so Dave was talking about this on Wrestling Observer Radio about like how nice like Nikki Cross is. And dude, she really is nice. Like I get like based off that like 15-17 minute interview that I had with her, she was very, very nice. And I will tell you this, like whenever I do an interview with somebody, like they'll retweet it, they'll say like, oh, thank you, Denise, for, you know, doing this interview, whatever, right? But Nikki is probably the only that I can think of right now, the only person that has retweeted each and every single promotional tweet that I have put out there about this interview. Like, she went above and beyond multiple times to promote that interview. And I'm like, that was just really, really nice of her to do. So she kind of went that extra mile. So I have nothing but nice things to say about her. All right, but now let's go ahead and move on to the Legado del Fantasma Mariachi Musical Madness. I was not a fan of this. I'll tell you guys that right now. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me, but I just was not crazy about this segment. I felt very stereotypical because I just kind of feel like this has been a topic so many times where I'm not necessarily crazy about the way that they always do this portrayal of Mexicans, where it's like you always have to do the very, very, again, stereotypical thing that you would expect from Mexicans. Like, I mean, come on, think of the Lucha House Party, a team that came out with piñatas. The Mexicools came out with a lawnmower, and then we have the mariachi musical madness thing. Then you have, like, on top of that, a lot of this. To me, I was just not a fan of this, and it quickly lost my interest. I just don't necessarily love it when they always make it like the person's entire personality, because it just kind of boxes us into this bubble where I feel like sometimes they think that's all that they can do with Mexican talent. And we all seen this, like we've seen it so many times where there's so many Mexican talent, like on Raw, for example, that we just always see them getting buried because I almost feel like we're always portrayed exactly the same. So that's why I personally was not a fan of this. I wasn't a fan of this. And I think I'm trying to see a couple of comments here. And we have a super chat from Wrestling Gamer who says, wow, Mariachi Madness tonight was really a smash hit. Like, if you liked it, like, that's definitely like your prerogative. Like, people are allowed to like segments. This was not for me. This was definitely not for me. But I can see why people liked it, because people, are liking what Hit Row is doing. People, Legado del Fantasma for the most part has been booked pretty strongly, especially when Santos Escobar was champion. Maybe not so much in the last week or two, but now they're obviously getting into this feud with Hit Row. So I hope that, I think that they're going to have good matches, or decent matches. So we'll kind of see how that all goes. But yeah, again, I was not really that big of a fan of this. But thank you so much to Wrestling Gamer for sending in this super chat here. And let's see what else we got here. This is a comment from Martin, who's asking if Hit Row are the baby faces. They are definitely the baby faces here. Yes. At least to me, that's how I read them. Yeah, they're definitely the baby faces. We have a comment from Troy Butler, who says, Legado was a faction created to essentially destroy how we perceive Mexican wrestlers as a gimmick. I think it was cool that Legado refused to actually start singing. Yeah, and I kind of hope that, because this is what happens when you post a comment on Twitter, because you're only allowed a certain amount of characters. You obviously can't explain your entire thoughts. And so I feel like it's one thing, definitely show pride, because hell yeah, show pride. That's awesome. But don't make it the entire thing, the entire persona of the wrestler is what they are, and this goes for everybody. For me, it just feels like they need to get them out of this bubble. I don't always want to see all the Mexican talent essentially be treated again, the Lucha House Party. And I feel bad because I like the Lucha House Party, but they're my example for right now. So there you go. That's pretty much my thoughts on that. And let's see what else we got here. Lenny Banner says the racial stereotype is something that they lean into way too heavy, too much. Hit the nail on the head with this, Denise. Yeah, and it kind of caused me a lot of Twitter drama, guys. A lot of people did not like my thoughts on that. So I feel like I had to, obviously be careful with what you say. Not what you say, but you got to make sure when you say something, you got to explain it the very best that you can, or else it could be easily misconstrued. So that definitely happens here. This is a comment from Pomi, who says, this feud is great on paper, but it was kind of annoying seeing Legado del Fantasma and Hit Row make every Mexican reference possible. I was more of Legado del Fantasma sides, and they are the heels. Dude, I kept toning out, but yeah, they definitely did hit them. They definitely did hit every single possible stereotype, the mentions of the quinceañera, obviously the mariachi. Believe it or not, but like as a Mexican, like I don't think I've ever listened to mariachi in my life. Even like, well, actually I have, obviously, like at parties and stuff, but it's not like I'm bumping it on my, my Spotify. It's it's a stereotype, okay? Like it's a stereotype, and that's why I'm not necessarily a fan of it, That's how I feel about this, but here we have another person who says, as a Chinese, this is basically how I feel about Xia. I'm sure a lot of people, I was wondering about that too, but obviously like I didn't want to comment on that, but I did wonder about how people feel about, that type of stuff. So anyways, this is a very, very sensitive topic that is never, never easy to discuss. Let me tell you that much. Okay. Very, very easy. We have a super chat from Brandon Rosen. Thank you so much to Brandon, who says, I still like Hit Row's rap style promos. I find them entertaining. Still, this is a feud that the North American Championship or about not liking each other's music. From based off today, it was about not liking each other's music. That's what it felt like. And I was like, oh, wonderful. That's what this feud's going to be about. Them not liking each other's music. All right. Cool, I guess. Not really, but okay. Anyways, thank you so much to Brandon Rosen for sending in this super chat. Thank you so much for sending this in. All right, guys, here we go. Sam3 says, bahaha, Hollywood Denise doesn't like Vicente. Actually, I only know like maybe like the popular songs from Vicente Fernandez, but and I used to have like as a kid, I had a crush on his son Alejandro for a while there. But yeah, I forget which song it is that I like from Vicente Fernandez, but obviously, there's people have their hits and the hits that everybody knows about. All right, anyways, we're going to go ahead and move on. All right, so here we go. So after this, we had what I did like here. Let's give a round of applause, man. I feel like I got to get hyped for Odyssey Jones versus Andre Chase. So when I came out here and we were talking about the NXT Breakout Tournament, the day that they introduced all the guys and all the talents, I came on here and I was like, Odyssey Jones, bam, he's my pick. I don't know much about him, but he is my pick. And the reason for that is like immediately, the second they showed him on camera, he won me over. Like he was just happy to be there. And he had people that have like a presence, they don't always have to say much to like necessarily show that they have a personality. And so that's kind of how I felt with him. So I was like, all right, maybe I'm just judging him off of, a couple of seconds on camera or whatever. But then he came out here today and yeah, he's a little rough around the edges. All right, whatever. But it doesn't matter. Like the guy is gonna get over. And the reason for that is like he came in here and he showed how athletic he was. Every move that he did was very impactful. And also he quickly got the crowd to get invested in what he was doing. So I call that a win. He ended up getting the win very quickly here against Andre Chase. And now he's moving on in this tournament. So I'm happy that my pick is alive and strong and well. Go Odyssey Jones. And let's see what else we got here. Patrick says Odyssey Jones has a lot going for him. He should go far, if not win the whole tournament. And I know that, obviously we've only seen like 2 matches, right? And, maybe we'll switch our opinions on who we think should, be winning this. But for the most part, definitely right now, I feel like I'm definitely rooting for Odyssey Jones. Let's see what else we got here. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, let's see. All right, after this, we got LA Knight versus Drake Maverick. This was my second favorite thing of the show. This is maybe my second, third favorite thing. All right, so this is definitely my second favorite match. All right, and the reason for this, not necessarily because of the in-ring work or anything, by that means, it was mainly the story, the post-match story that I was told here. I was a fan of this. So earlier we were talking about how this match was made. Essentially, Drake Maverick offering to help out Cameron Grimes, who's the butler carrying the bags. Drake Maverick doing a nice human thing, right? Offering his help to somebody who needs it, and obviously LA Knight puts a stop to that. So we see Drake Maverick win this match, okay? But LA Knight quickly begins attacking him right after this match. And I'm thinking, oh God, he's got to get his heat back, whatever, right? But then they ended up changing my mind because quickly after this, Cameron Grimes gets very upset at LA Knight for essentially beating up Drake Maverick even after the match is over and after Drake Maverick beat him. And so Cameron Grimes goes and pulls off LA Knight off of Drake Maverick. And so then obviously LA Knight's like gets pissed, and LA Knight wants Cameron Grimes to essentially like punch Drake Maverick, but Cameron Grimes doesn't want to do it because Drake Maverick was nice to him. Drake Maverick, offered him help earlier in the day. Okay, Drake Maverick's his quote unquote friends now. Okay, he was a nice person doing a decent human thing. So then after he tries to walk out, Cameron Grimes, he tries to leave, tries to be the better person, but LA Knight's like, no, you got to do this. Like, you're my butler. You do what I say, etc., etc. And Cameron Grimes ends up unwillingly, but he ends up having to punch Drake Maverick in the face. And you know what? They won me over with this segment because it made me feel bad. I successfully felt bad for Drake Maverick because he was just a nice person trying to help him out. And then I felt bad for Cameron Grimes because Cameron Grimes realized that Drake Maverick was a nice person and he didn't want to hurt him in that way because he didn't deserve it. I thought this was a fun little story, and that's why it ended up being like one of my favorite things on the show here today. I was a fan of this. I thought, again, a nice story and a nice way to continue this whole thing with Cameron Grimes and LA Knight without it getting boring and repetitive and all of that. All right, let's see what else we got here. This is coming from Troy, who says Troy says, I love this segment, but not too long ago, Grimes was one of the biggest heels on the show. I find it hard to believe that it ripped him apart to Maverick. I think he oversold his remorse a bit. And I get that because yes, it makes sense. Obviously, Cameron Grimes was, a rich, greedy bastard and this and that. But slowly though, throughout the last couple of weeks, we have been seeing shades of, Cameron Grimes essentially becoming a good guy. Slowly, he's obviously still, on his, mighty horse and all of that since he, won all this money and all of this. But I feel like it makes sense for him to feel bad, especially because they're doing this slow, gradual, he is a babyface because the people react to him in a babyface. It's natural for him to essentially, he should be a babyface. But anyways, thank you so much to Troy. We got a couple of super chats here. So thank you so much, first and foremost, to Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury, who says, I love the small touch of Grimes checking on Maverick as Knight was walking away. You see, it won some people over. It won me over. This kind of feels like the Baron Corbin thing. On SmackDown, I haven't necessarily been the biggest Baron Corbin fan. I could care less. But this whole I'm broke and a depressed storyline, it made me feel bad. I felt bad for the guy, so now I'm a fan. So same thing. I mean, I was already a fan of Cameron Grimes, but I still felt bad. All right, we have another super chat. This one's from DKC Returns, who says, put this $5 towards your AC usage. I have a rule now. I turn on the AC now for every show because after that one show that I melted buckets, never again do I want to go through that experience ever again. And I'll tell you something. The second you start sweating, there's no stopping it. There's no stopping. It doesn't matter how many times you dab your shirt. You're done. You're done. You're just going to keep going. All right. We have another super chat from Jay Kane who says, I'm still emotionally invested in Karrion versus Joe. My daughter is here. Thank you, Denise, for giving my daughter strength, representing women of color. You're awesome, Jay. Thank you so much for this comment. And look, when it comes to Karrion Kross and Samoa Joe, I know it's going to be a good match, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. This Karrion Kross, Jeff Hardy thing did put a damper on things, especially because Samoa Joe is such a badass. It was not hard to get into that storyline. Hell, it was one of the matches everybody here was most looking forward to. Everybody was like, yeah, we're going to see this match. Woo. And they put a damper on that. Why you got to ruin things? Thank you so much to Jay. Thank you. All right, guys, here we go. We are going to move on. We do have a comment from Chad West who says, what are your thoughts on Karrion Kross being buried on his debut on Raw? Rewind to the top of the show, Chad, because I do go off on this a little bit. But yes, I was not a fan of it. It was BS. It was the wrong call. And it was just not, no. But rewind to the best of the show. Rewind to the top of the show because I obviously express my feelings a little bit more eloquently. All right, here we go, guys. Let's jump into... Oh, man. All right. After this, we had, so next week, we're going to have Carmelo Hayes versus Josh Briggs. And then let's go into the main event. We had Xia Li versus versus Raquel for the NXT Women's Championship. This was a faster match than we were expecting, but during this match, we did see Xia Li essentially get slammed down hard, and then Raquel did a twisting senton on her, and Xia Li did not get up, and medical staff was surrounding her. The referee kept telling Raquel Gonzalez to back off of her and yelled, "Get up!" And they instantly aired a replay, and then Xia Li got back to her feet. Then Raquel Gonzalez ended up hitting her with one more move, and they ended the match here. So it seems like Xia Li may have been injured, but they did finish this match. So I'm sure we'll get more information on this afterwards. But we did see Raquel obviously retain here, and I think for the most part, everybody here was expecting Raquel to actually win here. But the show ends here. We need to go to Samoa Joe calling out Karrion Kross. So Samoa Joe comes out, and we talked about, everything that happened at the top of the show, but he comes out here again, and he's even more pissed off. I mean, the guy is livid, guys. Samoa Joe is angry AF. He calls out Karrion Kross. He's going mad. Like, literally, I cannot, if you did not see this, watch this, because the anger on Samoa Joe's face is very, very apparent. But he says, Karrion Kross appears on screen, and it looks like he's sitting in his car or whatever. And he says that he's the new beginning, that he can go wherever he wants, do whatever he wants, hurt whoever he wants. And then the camera pans down and reveals that he has beaten up William Regal, and William Regal's essentially on the floor unconscious. Samoa Joe tries to go quickly to help aid William Regal to get his hands on Karrion Kross, but it's unsuccessful. Man, this sucks, guys. It sucks because it did hurt. It really did hurt. Seeing Karrion Kross lose to Jeff Hardy last night, representing the NXT division as the NXT champion, it definitely hurt. It took away from not from the brand, it took away from the belt, it took away from this feud. It really did, and I know a lot of people, again, this has been a constant argument on Twitter and all of that, but at the end of the day, I feel very, very strongly with my opinions on how this impacted NXT, and a lot of people. Obviously, this didn't, a lot of people did come out here and say, hey, this did hurt me watching NXT. I cared a little less today. And yeah, there you go. A good chunk of people cared a little less today about NXT, and that really, really sucks. So they did not do anything good for Karrion Kross here. And and then I forgot to mention too, because at the top of this, Samoa Joe also mentioned the little field trip that Karrion Kross took to Raw, and I just thought, damn, like I don't even know, like, should they have addressed it? I have no idea what the right call was to go from here. But it really sucks because when you have Karrion Kross coming out here saying that he's the new beginning, I'm thinking, oh man, it's hard to buy that line after what happened on Raw. And then when he says he can go wherever he wants, and I'm thinking, yeah, go to Raw, but then get squashed, and not squashed, but essentially get embarrassed there, and then do whatever he wants, hurt whoever he wants. Unfortunately, it's hard to buy those words after the events that unfolded. Like, you almost have to pretend like it didn't happen so that you can stay invested in the storyline. But unfortunately, because it's so brand spanking new in our memory, it is definitely there for us to obviously think about when we're watching this. So there you go, guys. That was NXT. But we're getting lots of comments here. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, I forgot to mention that we still do not know what MSK actually stands for here. Let's read this comment from Kevin Nash is cool, says Joe is supposed to keep order, but has made the situation worse. Patrick says, so Kross chokes out a referee Joe last week and takes out Regal this week. I would think that would be grounds to strip Kross off the title. At this point, it doesn't even matter. And then see what else we got here. Troy Butler says, Kross only pulled the stunt because he knew Jeff Hardy wasn't there. Lenny Banner says, I wasn't in here when you covered this, but Kross became the first NXT champion to lose in his main roster debut. Owens beat Cena, Cole beat Bryan. Last night was a major show of how far NXT has fallen from where they were a few years ago. The quicker they can get the belt off of Kross, the better. Nothing Kross does moving forward can or will erase Kross getting rolled up by Hardy on Raw last night. NXT is on par with WWE ECW now. And Lenny Banner does have made a lot of good points there. And we have a super chat from Brandon Charles Powell. Thank you so much to Brandon, who says, yeah, Kross can do anything he wants except beat Jeff Hardy. Happy birthday, Kross. Man, see, at first I thought like, oh, maybe they did this because it's his birthday. Like, I don't know, like, you know, but then I was like, nah, they're sending a message. And make what you will about that, guys. Formulate whatever theory, because at this point, that's all you can do is formulate theories at this point. Thank you so much to Brandon, though, for sending in this super chat. I really appreciate this. This is a comment from Nicholas, who says, it's really sad for the NXT brand that both Kross and Lee lost in a matter of minutes. Both had a great match last year and are now jobbers. And to be honest, like the Keith Lee thing did not bother me as much as the Karrion Kross thing, because again, Karrion Kross is the champion, guys. If he wasn't the champion, I probably would have been like, oh, that sucks, and that's about it, end of story. But the fact that he's the champion, that's what I'm trying to like hammer into people's heads, guys. He represents NXT as the champion. I feel like I've said that 1 million times, but that's still not getting through to a lot of people, especially on social media. But hey, what can you do? We got another super chat from Brandon Roseanne. Thank you so much to Brandon, who says, did you catch Dakota giving Raquel a bad look at the end of her interview when she said there's no one left? Dakota is starting to turn on her. I did not notice that, because when she said it, I was looking at Raquel when Raquel said it. I did not look at Dakota, but I did notice that last week when Xia Li ran in and essentially made her challenge to Raquel. That is when I noticed Dakota's facial reaction. But I didn't notice it this week, but that's because I wasn't looking at her. I was looking at Raquel. But thank you so much for bringing this up, Brandon, because they are definitely planting the seeds. Alrighty. And I think we got everything, guys. All right, there you go. So that was our NXT show. I want to thank you guys so much for coming in to watch the show. Again, to be honest, I had no idea what the interest was going to be like today. I was like, damn, based off of what happened on Raw, I have no idea if people are going to care about NXT. Are they going to tune into this post show? I have no idea. Let's see what happens the next 2 weeks, because again, the next 2 weeks we are going to be on Sci-Fi. If you did not watch the actual NXT show, don't leave me alone here. Make sure you guys come into the stream and I'll tell you everything that went down on the show as best as I possibly can. So guys, please make sure to come back tomorrow. I am going to be talking about AEW Dynamite Fyter Fest Night 2, so that should be pretty fun. Make sure you guys come in to watch that show, and then I will be back on Friday to talk about Smackdown. All right, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you haven't, make sure you follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram at _Denise Salcedo. Until next time, I'll see you guys all later. Have a very happy Tuesday. Bye, everybody.